What's good, Lobo fans? This is Jamal Mashburn Jr., and this is episode 66 of the Talking Grammar podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and this is episode 66 of the Talking Grammar podcast. Glad you're watching, glad you're listening. However you're here, much appreciated for you guys joining us on what is now the, fourth episode of our kind of relaunch of this podcast, and we've been getting a lot of good feedback from you guys. Today's guest is Jamal Mashburn Jr., the star shooting guard for the Lobo basketball team. He is will be a preseason all-conference pick, and is the leading scorer of the Mountain West last year. So Jamal has he's certainly a confident guest and a confident player, and I think you're really going to enjoy this episode with him. Hope you're enjoying all these episodes. You can always give us feedback at ggrammar@abqjournal.com is my email address. And you can also get me on Twitter at any time at Jeff Grammer. And so far, this podcast has had a whole lot of reader and listener engagement and feedback, and hopefully you guys will continue that going forward. So you can get us on YouTube. You can get us at any time on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We are available. So hope you enjoyed this conversation I had with UNM Lobo shooting guard Jamal Mashburn Jr. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and this is episode 66 now of the Talking Grammar podcast. Today's guest, Jamal Mashburn Jr. Lobo fans certainly know him. For those that don't, I'm going to do a quick little rundown here before we get going here. But as a junior, Jamal led the Mountain West in scoring, 19.1 points overall for the season, 21 during conference play. Obviously made all conference. We'll do so again in the preseason polls that are coming out here shortly. He's already scored 1,470 points in 3 college seasons. That's 1,233 of them as a Lobo in just 2 seasons. In just his 2 years as a Lobo, he already ranks 23rd all time scoring in a Lobo uniform. He's behind the names like Cameron Bairstow and Marvin Automatic Johnson. So he's already made a mark on Lobo basketball, and obviously wants to do so again. And that's what we're here to talk about what the mark that Jamal is about to leave in his last year or in the next season of Lobo basketball. Jamal, welcome, man.
Man, thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
This is, as we record this, about a week away from official practices. I know you guys are working out already anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, fans that maybe don't follow, either on social media or I know we talked in July, we had a press conference. Remind us what you did this summer, and kind of, I know Coach always talks about you being a gym rat. I know you've been in the gym a lot. So what'd you do this summer?
Man, I got in the gym first and foremost. But I would say this summer was more important for my mental aspect, and just I've written and journaled my whole life, and but I really took the next step this summer in my reading and in my writing, and just focusing on what I want my future to look like and what I want my now to look like. Because the most important thing is the present moment and the now. So I was really working on my mental, man, and just staying out the way. I'm from Miami, Florida, a hectic city, but I stay out the way, stay in the gym, man, stay with family, people that are close to me and that love and support me.
How long have you been writing?
How long have I been writing?
Yeah.
Probably I would say consistently since I was 13. Yeah? 13, 14. That was when I got my first journal.
And what are you writing? Some people write to save what they're thinking and they go back and look at it. Some people just write to get it out and then maybe don't ever look at it again. Yeah. I'm curious, are you a writer that goes back and reads it, or are you a writer that just has to get it down on paper and then it kind of therapeutically gets it out of your system a little bit?
I'm a little bit of both, depending on the day. Yeah. I'm a big goal setter. When I set goals, I get them, and when I write them down on paper, it's something that I can focus on and kind of just speak into reality. And it's a way for me to really release all of the anxiety that has to do with the sport, because all of us know, us athletes know that we're all trying to accomplish something, and there's a lot of stress that goes into sport. So how are you gonna relieve that kind of stress? Right. And that's just been my reliever ever since I was young, because I'm such a big competitor. I want to win. I want to be good. I want to play well. But you got to be able to be calm also, and just kind of let it flow, let the work show, because I'm a person that does get in the gym, does work out a lot, and does show it, and is prideful of showing that. But I also just got to let it just come, let it naturally flow. So
It's easy, especially a guy like you who works in the gym as much as you do. It's easy to get obsessed with it and to have it take you over a little bit. I'm curious how much the writing maybe helps you get away from basketball. Are you writing just about basketball? Are you writing about things that have nothing to do with basketball?
I mean, just life in general, not just basketball. It's definitely writing is definitely a focal point just in my whole entire life experience. And but what I'm writing down affirmations for myself. We talked about Deion Sanders, someone who's mastered manifestation and positive self-talk. I mean, he's done it throughout his whole NFL career. I mean, you hear him in his interviews, people saying that he's overly confident. You know, he comes off, you know, in certain ways to certain people, but man, that dude never talks negative about himself. He puts in the work and he's confident about himself and he believes himself faithfully. So those are kind of the things that I'm writing about, and that translates through basketball, through life, through work, you know what I'm saying, anything. So, and
his whole point is it's okay to be confident. It's okay to wear sunglasses.
Yeah.
It's okay to do you. And what other people think about it is you know, they're going to think about it. Let them think it. You're in the spotlight. Lobo basketball players in this town are in the spotlight. With your name, you're in the spotlight too. With your game, you're in the spotlight. So, I mean, following a guy or at least kind of looking at his lead to sort of accepting, I can be confident and I can live how I want to live without all these other people around me telling me how to do it.
Yep.
I mean, he's the kind of guy that I think that probably is good for some athletes to look forward to. Some people don't agree with that.
They don't, yeah. But I mean, some people do, and the people that do, those are usually the ones that are that just say no to the naysayers and say no to the ones that don't believe in them. Because if you're not going to believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? You know what I'm saying? So he's mastered that, man, and he's brought it down to his kids. You know, all the way. So I have big respect for him.
You're a guy too. You brought up his kids and they're handling, you know, the name very well. I'll kind of transition there. I know every time I talk to you about this, I kind of put it in this context and kind of preface it with, I know you get sick of hearing about it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. People that are listening to the podcast.
Never sick of hearing it, man. We can talk about it all the time.
Well, so that's what's interesting too, is you have a coach too that has the same kind of thing where people ask about your dad a lot. You're close with your dad, and you've kind of always said what you just said is you aren't sick of hearing about it.
Yeah.
Tell me what it's like being Jamal Mashburn Jr. and carrying on, you know, a college basketball career and kind of carving your own path with a name of somebody that's done it before you at such a high level.
Man, it's you're right, such a high level, man. First of all, I'm just so grateful just for him to be my father. And you know, I couldn't ask for a better support system and a better dad. You know, he's my best friend and everything in one. You know, he's my biggest critic. And just to carry that name, it's very, I feel honored. I mean, I feel like almost like I don't deserve it, but I do deserve it just because of, you know, I've been fixing my self-talk and stuff like that. But like, man, it's just, man, I'm so grateful just to be a part of a family like that and be learning from a guy like my dad who's had such a, you know, a great career, NBA career, a career that I want to emulate and be better than. So, and he's learning and he's continuing to teach me and talk to me, and we talk every day, man. And it's such a blessing, and I'm just so grateful. That's all I can say. I'm just grateful.
Anytime it's been a burden, it's been far more outweighed by the benefits of being that of carrying that name.
Oh yeah, I mean, because that's what I focus on. I mean, the more you focus on the positive of things, the more positive things are going to show up, because that's the manifestation piece we talked about. The more negative things you focus on, whether it be about this, the more negative situations are going to come up and the negative thoughts and stuff like that. But every time people bring up my dad, man, I'll talk about him for an hour, you know, whatever questions they got. You know, when he scored 50 against Scottie Pippen, or, you know, how was the All-Star game, like when I met Yao Ming and stuff like that. Like I'll always talk about that, man.
How much does he bring up any of that stuff?
He loves to bring it up. I mean, man, but the thing is like I crave the information though. I always love to hear stories like that of him.
Well, so you have some siblings. I'm curious, how many of them play basketball?
So my sister, she played basketball all the way up until she was a sophomore in high school.
Does he bring it up as much with them as he does with you because you're pursuing basketball?
You know, that's a great question. He'll bring it up in general, just as he'll be the head of the table, and he's talking about himself, man. But we love it though. Like, I mean, that's he's earned it. He's earned that right to talk about himself like that, and to bring up those old stories and those moments. And I just love to hear about them. We all do, you know, as a family. So it's amazing.
Do you have any of those stories that he tells sometimes that through the years maybe got exaggerated a little bit, or that you've kind of caught him in like, no, it wasn't 50 against Pippen, it was 44 or something like that?
Nah, I mean, my dad gave Scotty 50 straight up. And he guarded him the whole game. Like, so he don't exaggerate nothing. There was a story about when he played on the USA Select team versus the Dream Team.
Yeah. Not
exaggerated one bit. I mean, the story is so famous and so blown up nowadays. I still get stuff from it to this day. But you know, when he's talked about Larry Bird and about him scoring on Rodney Rogers 8 straight times in a row, it was for real 8 straight times in a row. And I asked him, I'm like, Dad, like, we're off camera. Like, you can tell me, did that really happen? He like, man, yeah, Jay, I wouldn't lie to you. And my dad would not lie to me ever. So
that's awesome.
That's cool, man. So
not everybody has somebody to lean on like that, doing exactly what they're doing, pursuing the same, kind of going down that same path. You got him in the gym. I saw on Instagram some pictures of him in the gym. How often do you and him still get together to work out? I know you got trainers. I know you do your thing. How often is a junior and senior in the gym together?
That's a great question. So I love to talk about this because he kind of doesn't want me to say how much he's in the gym, but I'm gonna say it. So he gets in with my trainer every time in the morning at 9 a.m. 3 times a week. So from Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he'll get in, and then we'll have a Saturday session where it's just us. So. And I work out 7 days a week. So, but that Saturday session is strictly just for me and him, getting up shots, getting up reps, play a little bit on one-on-one here and there. He's still trying to get back into his real game shape to play me for real. Cause right now I won't disclose any game information right now, but you know, he's getting back to his shape. He's in great shape. He's always been in great shape. He can still windmill, do all that. So I mean,
so he's trying to get back into. He wants one more go at it before he can't do it anymore. He wants one more go where you and him can go one-on-one a little, huh?
Yep, exactly. He wants that, man. We're as competitive as ever. So, I mean, we've always been like that.
So I'm curious. I asked Jamal Baker Jr. When he was here last week, I had asked him about growing up. He had an older sister that played that was like 4 years older than him, and he said they used to go at it.
Yeah.
At what point in high school did they kind of have to stop playing and all that? I'm curious, at what point, it sounds like you guys are getting back to where you guys are playing. Mm-hmm. Was there any point in your growing up that you and your dad had to kind of stop playing where you were starting to get a little bit of the advantage on him?
Oh, absolutely. I would say when I got to I was still in Miami at the time, still at Gulliver Prep. I didn't go to Brewster yet. I was around my sophomore year of high school.
All right.
And freshman year going into sophomore year, I was getting faster. I was getting stronger, bigger than him. You know what I'm saying? And I was feeling good, real confident in myself. And I probably had beaten him a couple of times, and then we had stopped because he wasn't working out like he's doing now.
Yeah.
And now he's back in the flow of things, working out, getting shots up, getting his rhythm, together. Not like it's ever lost, but
yeah.
But yeah, probably when I was a sophomore in high school.
All right, this gets back to him, and he hears that you've now put it out there that he's getting in shape, and you guys are gonna get in the gym together.
We're gonna have a camera crew and everything too.
You are?
Oh
Good.
yeah, it's gonna be. We're gonna have refs. We're gonna have all that. It's gonna be set up. It's gonna be nationally televised.
Any predictions?
I'm gonna say I gotta go with myself every time. I mean, he's gonna give me some buckets though for sure, just because he's so good. He's my favorite player. So I know all his moves though. That's the thing. So I can be there, but he's also 6'8", so it's a little bit harder to contest. But I would say I'm always gonna say me. So gonna say me.
Growing up with Dad, he obviously, this is something else we've talked about. I want you to share with the listeners a little bit. I started, as you guys play games, I'm taking notes up in press row, and I just take little notes. And every time you hit a mid-range shot, I just kept hitting mid-range. If whoever scores, I put their last name down. So I just kept writing mid-range mash all the time.
Yep.
And so we started kind of calling you mid-range mash, and I don't know how long you've been called that, or if that was just something here at UNM or what, but tell me how you got that mid-range game, the people call it a lost art because everyone's either scoring at the rim or scoring 3-point range, because that is what the analytics, the computers will tell you. Yeah. Those are the two most valuable shots, right?
Right.
They go in the most. The value of the 3-pointer makes it worth stretching out, all that kind of stuff. So nobody's taking that mid-range shot anymore. You took more than anybody in the Mountain West Conference last year and made more. And I'm curious why the mid-range shot that nobody else is really doing, why that is something that is such a vital part of your game.
Yeah, so when my dad first, so just take it back, when I picked up a basketball when I was 10 years old, I was first a lacrosse and football player. My dad kind of let me, he didn't force me not force me, but he didn't say like, Jay, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. He kind of just let me figure it out, let me flow into different things, different sports with different friends and all that. But when I got into basketball and I really committed to it, that was the area that I was always in, because when you're a kid and when you're little, kids kind of push their shot from their chin, and he never wanted me to do that. So he always wanted me to keep the ball high. So I couldn't shoot threes back. I didn't shoot threes back then. Like I remember for the first 3 years he was training me, he wouldn't allow me to shoot a three, because
you didn't have the strength if you weren't pushing it.
Exactly, yeah, because he wanted me to keep it all up high, and I had a hitch in my jump shot for the longest time. But he always taught me just to have my shoulders strong and keep the ball up high, because in the NBA or in the highest level, you got to get that shot off, and it's got to be a high arc. So I grew up just in that area for the longest time, just in my development process. And then once I got into middle school, high school, those areas they just felt so natural and they felt so comfortable. And I always say to people nowadays too, like, man, I can shoot the three. Like I can shoot the three. If you can shoot the mid range at a high level, you can back up a few steps and shoot the three. I understand this year I'm gonna have to take a little bit more threes. I will take a little more threes because I've been working a little bit more on my three and just the fluidity of it.
Sure.
So, but yeah, man, I've been mid range mash since I picked up the basketball, literally. So in high school, that's how I was scoring. I could get to the rim. You know what I'm saying? So that's always been an area that I just loved, and I studied the great ones that were in that area: Kobe Bryant, DeMar DeRozan, Lou Williams, guys like the Devin Booker nowadays too. I mean, he's amazing in the mid range. So yeah, I just kind of always grew up in that area, man.
So that's where you were developing. You said through high school, you kind of already became, the mid range was already part of your game then. Take us to when you really became kind of landed on the national recruiting stage. Was probably at Brewster, right? I guess maybe the year before, but Brewster especially.
Yeah, it was
Brewster Academy.
Brewster Academy. Yeah, that was kind of where I came in as a top 100 player. Okay. So I was like 90. I don't want to get that number wrong. Probably like 97. 97. I just scratched the 100. But when I got to Brewster, that's when we kind of took it to the national level because we were playing nationally scheduled prep teams. Right. And luckily, I ended up winning 2 national championships, being a captain my last year on that team. And that Brewster is an amazing experience, man. Amazing experience.
Some of the guys on that roster, I mean, some names,
man. I can go through a list, man. Kai Jones, Terence Clark, RIP, Jalen LeCue, Joel Brown, who's at Iona now. Handful of guys: Zane Meeks, Alonzo Gaffney. These are from both teams too. Kadari Richmond. Yeah, these are from both teams, man.
So you mentioned Terence Clark. For Lobo fans that get to games early, they might see that last year. I don't know if you did it both years, but I know you did it last year.
Last year, yeah.
You would always bring out during warm-ups. You'd bring out a T-shirt and set it on the bench. Mm-hmm. T-shirt was of
Terence Clark, my boy.
And tell us a little bit about why you're still doing that.
Yeah, so just to take you through the whole Terence Clark situation for people who don't know, before he had gotten drafted and he was going to get drafted. Yeah. He was down in LA with his agency and stuff like that. And, car things happen and accidents happen and, tragically he passed away. So now, he was my best friend, man. We won national championship together, 2 of them together. And, man, we bumped heads every day in the gym, man. And he was a gym rat, man. If you want to think, you say I was a gym rat, man, that kid was something special, man. And we always pushed each other. He was top 5 in the country, so I always wanted to go at him. And I was who I was, so he always wanted to come at me. So the reason why I bring the shirt and through pregame and stuff like that, just because he gives me just an extra energy. Every time I'm in the gym and I wear number 5, that has a different special meaning to me. Like I got a tattoo right here of 5 with a heart because after every time I write a passage, I always end the passage with 5 with a heart. I've been doing that ever since. I've been doing it before I met Terence.
Okay.
And so the number 5 has just so many different special meanings for me, and he's definitely one of them, a big reason for that. And I just him having him on the bench, man, and then I kind of tap him on the chest on the shirt and point up to the sky just because that's when I know that he's with me. You know what I'm saying? He's with me every day.
Very cool. And for those that may not remember, basketball fans, junkies for sure, definitely remember. I mean, he was going to be a lottery pick.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to be doing just fine. And I know that Brewster Academy time gets you going to now when you're getting recruited to Minnesota by Richard Pitino. That recruiting process is what got you here, really, the recruiting process to Minnesota. Yeah. How did the recruiting go, and why was there such a bond formed between you and Richard Pitino?
My recruiting process was surprisingly really smooth, and it wasn't as hectic as I thought it was going to be. The reason being is because Richard was very adamant and very, very involved from the jump. So even from when I was in Gulliver before Brewster, he was calling me. He broke down film, and even like he was just so attentive with my game, and he knew my game from the jump. And I just was comfortable with him, and I trusted him. And I'm like, man, okay, if I have an opportunity to be with a coach like this that can, let me play my game, let me get better, and still push me and still coach me, and I can still learn from him, and this is the right situation. So it was a no-brainer coming from Minnesota over here. Honestly. So
when you say it was a no-brainer to come here, you are going from the Big Ten to the Mountain West, though.
Yeah.
There was a level question about who you might be playing against and all that. I'm curious. You've been here now 2 years, going into your third. Mm-hmm. Any regrets about that part of it, about going from the Big Ten level to the Mountain West level?
I'm gonna be honest. It's all the same. I'm gonna be honest. I would say the only difference between those two conferences is the media exposure.
Yeah.
I really would say that, honestly. I mean, in my 2 years being at New Mexico, I mean, I can see us our team this year. I can see us competing in the Big Ten, being top 4 in the Big Ten, or in any conference. Honestly, I would just say definitely the media exposure and stuff like that, and just the outer look of how the Mountain West looks and how the Big Ten looks. Those are two totally different. You get two totally different feelings from the outside fan. Sure. You know what I mean? So, but as playing wise, I mean, it's basically it's all the same to me, honestly.
So you came to UNM kind of sight unseen. You knew you were going to follow Richard Pitino when he left Minnesota and came here. You are entering your third season. I'm going to ask you a question from the booth now. The guys in the back wanted to know sort of what's been your biggest surprise or shock about living in New Mexico so far the past few years. Like, is anything that maybe surprises you that you didn't think about ahead of time when you got here?
Honestly,
it's a unique place, man.
Yeah, it is a unique place. I really like the weather, but no, I would say honestly, the people here are honestly really nice. To the people I've interacted with, I mean, I've heard a lot of outside stories about New Mexico, a lot of crime, a lot of drugs, all that stuff. But man, the people that I've interacted with, man, they've shown me so much love, and like I can't thank them enough and be grateful for all the community here in New Mexico. I mean, they've been the kindest people to me. So. Probably that probably surprised me a lot. Yeah, because where I'm from, Miami, you getting a whole variety of different personalities, different ethnicities, different everything, and you might not know what you run into, but over here, man, I've had no bad experience, none.
Very cool. None. Any food thoughts about New Mexico? I know there's a different food in New Mexico than maybe you're used to, but are you okay with the food here?
I've been good with the food here. I like I'm a shout out a spot. It's Vamos Con Gloria.
All right.
She holds it down. Now they got the birria tacos with the dip and the fries. Man, we have a sign-in sheet there, so our whole team goes to that spot. And everybody should go to that spot. That's a spot right there.
That's
But
not
I love
even
the
an
food.
NIL deal or anything right there.
No,
That's
it's not.
That's where you go.
That's just where I go. That's where I've been going since I first got here. That was my sophomore year. I mean, she holds it down.
That's awesome, man. Now we're here. We're at New Mexico. So far, first season you guys get 13 wins, but it's a rebuild, right? I talked to you and Jalen House on the podcast. It was actually episode 49 of this podcast last year before the season started. Talked to you and Jalen, and you guys said essentially both of you agreed that you guys had an NCAA tournament level team last year going in. I don't know that I believed you. The rebuild was from what Richard Pitino and you guys came and took over to that point. I didn't know if I thought you guys would get there. Yeah. But you did. You didn't make the tournament, obviously, so that fell short. But you guys were so close and certainly on that level that I would say that even though you didn't make the tournament, you guys were right in your prediction, and I was probably wrong. But I'm curious, as you look back on last year, from 14-0 start to not making the NCAA tournament at the end, was that a disappointment last year, or is there some pride in the fact that you guys did make that step to right on the cusp of the NCAA tournament?
I don't think it's a disappointment at all, actually. I mean, if anything, I think it's a plus, and we learned so much as a core group. Like me and House, man, we learned a lot from last year. Just as being leaders, being the older dudes on the squad. We gotta have everybody all in. And it can't just be everybody can't just ride a high of 14-0 and then get to the middle of the season where, dog days, people tired, people might be a little bit more frustrated or whatever the case may be. We all got to just, we can rest after the season. You know what I'm saying? We got 16 more games and we got the whole conference play to play. So I would just say, man, if we can have everybody all in at all times, man, it's a special thing. And you can see what it did in the beginning of the season. And if we carry that over, I mean, who knows? It would have been a different outcome. But I mean, we learned a lot just from that whole season. So it wasn't a disappointment at all.
The pit kind of regenerated a little bit. That's what the pit used to be. You had some sellouts for the first time in a long time. Talk a little bit about some of those pit crowds. Is that what people told you when you came here?
I mean, I remember I had a conversation with my dad, and he was like, "Yeah, the crowd's gonna be like it's gonna be similar like Rupp Arena. Yeah. Like they're all in, man." And I'm like, I didn't really believe him just because I didn't really know nothing about New Mexico before I got here. But man, when I see the crowd and I hear them roaring, man, and it gives me such good energy, like because they're all in and I know other teams are fearful of that. Like when they have, when we go on a run, or if we hit a three, somebody get a dunk, a steal, or anything happens, man, they gonna react, and they gonna let you know if you're doing something bad too. They gonna let you know if you're not playing hard. They gonna let you know if you're not doing the right things too. So, I really appreciate our fans, and I really expect them to be even more all in this year for sure.
Puts a pressure on you too, though. I mean, you have a responsibility when you're asking the fans to buy in that much and to give that much energy, and then they do, and they reciprocate and give you all that energy. And there's some pressure on you to you guys then have to perform and give it back to them, and it kind of goes both ways, right? Do you feel pressure?
I don't feel pressure at all, honestly. I mean, I just think as a fan base, I love our fans, man. I mean, and any fan base is really gonna, if you're all in, and if you're playing well and stuff like that, your fans are gonna really love and appreciate you. If you're playing hard and you're playing the right way, they're gonna love and appreciate you. And if you're not, they're gonna let you know, and they're gonna pull your coattail. And okay, we just gotta pick it up next game. We can't lose in our home gym. We can't go down double digits in our home gym and not fight back. You know what I mean? Or because that's home court. You know what I'm saying? We gotta protect home court.
Let's talk about those fans this year and what they're going to get. We'll start wrapping this up by telling fans what they can expect out of the 2023-24 season. You are a senior. Jalen is a senior. You guys have some older guys, veteran leadership. Some of the new guys are veterans too. You're going to get some hype in the next few weeks. You're going to have some preseason magazines and stuff come out. I know John Rothstein has already in his offseason picks, picked you as player of the year. I know you and House will be on a lot of all league picks again. What do you, the expectations are going to be, you guys are going to be a top 3 team in the Mountain West, of course. What would you say is a fair expectation for fans of this Lobo basketball team this season?
Y'all should expect pure excitement and pure just winning basketball. And you should expect us to play hard every night for you guys. Every one of you guys should expect us to have energy. And we're going to win some games, man. We got a special group. Like, we got a really special group, man. And I know I said this last year, and I was real confident last year. We had a special run last year, but I really do feel special about this one this year, man. I mean, I think we're really going to turn some heads and make some noise, man. We just got to stay locked in, keep getting better what we need to get better at. And, I mean, official practice hasn't even started yet. So we still got a long way to go, a lot of learning process. But, I mean, y'all should expect way better than last year. Way better.
Way better.
Like, way better.
Personally, not from a team perspective, but personally, what may be different? Is it more of the same, or just hopefully a better version because you worked all offseason, or is there something specific that you worked on that might look different on the court from you personally this year?
I would say for me, definitely. I mean, we said this before the podcast. My 3-point attempts will go up. They'll go up, but I think they'll go up naturally. Like, y'all, it won't be like he's forcing threes. Nah, it'll go up naturally just because of the work that I put in. But I think also just on that defensive end and just being completely locked in on that end, just with everybody. I think that's something that I want to be able to show. Just I can guard the best player. Like, I can really pick up 94 feet, and still go out there and give you 20. So you should expect more of the same, but just definitely more of a complete player.
Going to rapid fire a couple of these here. You guys got some newcomers, 4 Division I transfers that are joining this team this offseason. You're a Division I transfer yourself from a couple seasons ago. Tell Lobo fans a little something that you've learned so far about the newcomers and what they can expect.
Man, I've learned a lot so far. A lot of things about Baker. Too, he's someone that, like, first of all, that's my old guy, man. He's my vet, man. He's someone that I always pick his brain about stuff and stuff like that. And we played each other against in Fresno and stuff like that. So he knows my game a little bit. Yep. I know his game a little bit. So it was kind of fun to have him on the squad and stuff like that. So, and he's a solid player, man. He's gonna be a good role piece for us. And then dudes like Mustafa, I mean, he can really shoot the ball, man. Yeah. Really shoot the ball, stretch the floor. I mean, you seen what he did in his I forgot what the preseason
World
stuff.
University games.
Yeah, he was going off, man, and that's what you should expect from him too. Just a player that can just shoot and stretch the floor and space the defense. A lot of guys, man. All of our guys can play, man. We got a lot of hoopers.
Some of the returners too. I'll ask real quick. Donovan Dent's a guy that I know is going to be backing you guys up, but. Yep. He's forcing his way onto the court too, though.
Oh, yeah, as he should. If he puts in the work, he should get right where he needs to be. What's
coaching staff like? Are they any different? Is working with Coach Patino any different today than it was 2-3 years ago when you first started playing with him?
Oh yeah, much different. I mean, I think as I get better throughout the offseason, coaches also too get better as well, and he's gotten better every year that I've coached, that I've been under him and stuff like that. We've communicated a lot better. Being more just being more connected, just in all facets of life, not just basketball related. Because if we're talking honestly, it's more important than just basketball. I mean, coaches they're raising kind of young men almost at this point. So there's different things that we got to learn, different things that we got to listen to, and sometimes people are hard headed about it. But I mean, I would say the relationship with the coaches always tends to get better throughout every offseason.
Awesome. I'm going to sign off with this one. There is a backcourt here that people know about, and you kind of alluded to playing with Jalen a little bit last year. The two of you are forming what some people consider one of the best backcourts in the whole country.
Yep.
You and Jalen House this year, and fans' expectation of the Jamal Mashburn Jr. Jalen House backcourt can be what?
I would say, first of all, I don't think we one of the best. I think we are the best backcourt in the country. First of all, I think, y'all should expect just more of what we've been doing, but more connected though. We've had multiple conversations just leading up to these years about us just being on the same page at all times. And whenever we're on the same page, like I told him, like whenever we're on the same page, man, about everything, it doesn't matter if it's little or small or big, good things happen for our team, for individually ourselves, for you. So if we can just, man, we when we're connected and we're flowing and we're clicking and he's fast and he's running the court and I'm across the court and he's kicking to me and I'm shooting to catch, man, good things happen, man, every time. So
you sound excited, man.
I'm so excited, man. I can't wait. I'm about to go to the gym after this right now. I just came back from the gym.
I know, right?
I'm about to go back to the gym right now and get some more work in. So I'm excited,
awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you for doing this. I know a lot of this stuff you and I have talked about at pressers or in interviews in the past, but appreciate you for going through some of that stuff again and letting fans, listeners know a little bit. And good luck this season, man.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Jamal Mashburn Jr., the starting shooting guard for the Lobo basketball team. As you can see, he's pretty confident, and he thinks fans should be confident, too, about the Lobo basketball season ahead. And I hope you enjoyed not just that conversation, but all the conversations we're having as part of this Talking Grammar podcast, which is a part of a larger Albuquerque Journal podcast network and really a larger digital movement that the Albuquerque Journal is doing right now, where we're having a lot more digital content, including another podcast, the Midweek Blitz, which is a high school football show that comes out once a week, and there'll be more to come. So let us know what you think about these podcasts, these shows. Let us know what you think about future shows. If you have story ideas or show ideas, you can get me at ggrammar@abqjournal.com, or you can get me on Twitter @JeffGrammer. And I hope you're enjoying this stuff. Without you, none of this is possible. So hopefully you're enjoying it at abqjournal.com. You can follow all our coverage and you can get all these podcasts and shows there as well. So hopefully you're enjoying all our content at the Albuquerque Journal. Read, hear, watch.